February 1959. In the frozen northern Ural Mountains of the Soviet Union, 9 young hikers would die under circumstances so strange, so unsettling, that more than 60 years later, their deaths remain one of the most debated mysteries in modern history. This is the Dyatlov Pass Incident. A story not of legends or monsters, but of real people, real decisions, and a night where something went terribly wrong. Before the theories, before the speculation, there were people. The group consisted of 10 hikers, mostly students and recent graduates from the Ural Polytechnic Institute. They were engineers, radio technicians, physics students. These were not reckless adventurers. All of them held advanced hiking certifications. Several had already completed extreme winter expeditions. Some had military or technical training. The leader of the group was 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov, calm, organized, respected by his peers. Their objective was ambitious but achievable, a 300-kilometer winter expedition through the northern Urals to earn the highest hiking qualification recognized by the Soviet Union. On January 28, 1959, just days into the journey, one member turned back. His name was Yuri Yudin. Yudin suffered from chronic joint pain and health issues. Continuing would have been dangerous. Reluctantly, he said goodbye and returned home. This decision saved his life. Yuri Yudin would later say something haunting. "If I had stayed," he said, "I would have died with them." The remaining 9 hikers continued north toward a mountain known to the local Mansi people as Kholat Shachal. Translated loosely, the name means Mountain of the Dead. The name itself was not a warning or legend. It simply referred to poor hunting in the area. Still, the region was remote, barren, and brutally cold. On February 1st, 1959, the group reached the slope of Kholat Shachal and made a decision that would later confuse investigators. Instead of descending into the forest below, where there was shelter from the wind, firewood, and natural protection, they chose to camp on the open slope of the mountain. Why? Some believe they wanted to practice camping in extreme conditions. Others think they simply misjudged the terrain in poor visibility. There is no evidence of panic, no sign of argument. They pitched their tent, prepared dinner, and settled in for the night. That night, something happened. When the hikers failed to return on schedule, friends and family became concerned. At first, delays were not unusual in expeditions like this, but days passed. Finally, on February 20th, a search party was organized. Students, volunteers, later, the military. On February 26th, searchers found the tent. It was partially buried in snow, still standing. Inside were food supplies, boots, jackets, and equipment, everything the hikers needed to survive. Then investigators noticed something disturbing. The tent had been cut open from the inside. Outside the tent, footprints led away from the campsite. Not running, not chaotic. Calm, deliberate steps. Some barefoot, some in socks, some lightly dressed. The footprints led downhill toward the forest. The first bodies were found near the tree line. 2 hikers lay beneath a large cedar tree, barefoot, almost naked. Their hands were burned, their skin scraped raw. Branches above them were broken, as if someone had climbed the tree in desperation. Nearby, searchers found the remains of a small fire. Between the forest and the tent, 3 more bodies were discovered, positioned as if they were trying to return to camp. All 5 had died from hypothermia, but questions were already forming. Why leave the tent half-dressed? Why flee into deadly cold? Why not return for supplies? The final 4 bodies were not found until May, when the snow began to melt. They were discovered in a ravine, buried under meters of snow. Their injuries were severe: crushed ribs, broken skulls, massive internal damage. One victim had injuries comparable to a high-speed car crash. yet their skin was mostly unbroken. No defensive wounds, no clear external trauma. One woman was missing her tongue, another was missing her eyes. Some clothing tested positive for radiation. The Soviet investigation moved quickly, too quickly. The official conclusion was brief. The hikers died due to a compelling natural force which they were unable to overcome. No detailed explanation, no reconstruction. The case was closed, the files were sealed. Decades later, theories would fill the silence. The most widely accepted explanation today is an avalanche. A slab avalanche, delayed and silent, could have destabilized the slope, forcing the hikers to cut their way out of the tent and flee downhill. This could explain the panic, the injuries, and the inability to return. In 2020, Russian authorities officially ruled the incident a natural disaster, most likely an avalanche. Another theory involves infrasound, low-frequency sound waves generated by powerful winds moving around the mountain. Infrasound can cause anxiety, disorientation, and intense fear. The hikers may have fled the tent without fully understanding why. Other theories point to military testing. Strange orange lights were reported in the sky. Weapons experiments were known to occur in the region. Pressure waves could explain internal injuries without visible wounds. But no official evidence has ever confirmed this. What remains certain is that 9 experienced hikers did not simply panic without reason. Something forced them into the cold. Something made them abandon safety. And whatever happened on Kholat Shakal that night left no clear answers behind. The mountain remains silent, and the Dyatlov Pass incident continues to ask the same question. If nothing was chasing them, then why did they run?